Well, it's 5 a.m. in the morning here, September the 15th, 2015. Apparently a lot of things are going to kick off in this particular month. We'll wait and see. I spent the last 24 hours looking at the mindset of the American people. But don't get me wrong, most of my friends are in America. Britain is very laid back. British people tend to worry about the cost of food in the supermarkets, the stores. You know, I'm alright, Jack. That's the British motto. And I saw Mark Dice's video, which is quite humorous. Now, Mark Dice, great guy actually. He did an interview on the streets, interviewing people, asking them whether they thought Richard Nixon had a chance of winning the next election. Richard Nixon. And most of the American people he interviewed said, well, he could have a chance. We know about Richard Nixon, that's an old history guy. But the sheeple in America thought, yeah, well, he's a runner in the race. Then something made me watch the footage of 9/11, 9/11. Something told me to watch this footage. I've spent many hours watching this because most of my time are consumed in defending the faith, the Abrahamic faith of our father, in Bible stuff. And having watched all the footage, I am now convinced 9/11 was an inside job. The American government incinerated their own people. Why? That's the big question. There's evidence that Saudi Arabia and Zionist Israel were involved in that. Well, why would Saudi Arabia be involved? My thoughts. Saudi Arabia dreaded Iraq invasion. So what do? They get the whipping boy, along with Zionist Jews who feared. Get the whipping boy America to go and invade Iraq and use Saddam Hussein and bin Laden as a scapegoat. And the bait was that you can get oil. So think about that, America. Your own government incinerated your own family. I think if it was one of my relatives who'd been incinerated in New York, I might have been on the case earlier. It's become more and more apparent to me now, watching the footage, when a plane, a so-called plane, hits a building, the first thing you see is the wings break off and the plastic nose. But when you look at the footage, that plane, those planes went straight through the building and out the other side. And all of a sudden, the whole chimney stack came down. I've watched films on demolition. In the UK, there was a famous demolition expert called Fred Dibner, who showed how you bring down, like a chimney stack, you bring it down by building fires at the base of that stack. And I watched this 4-hour video in particular, which convinced me there were no planes that hit those buildings. How they did that, Photoshop, I don't know, but I do know this. Americans, your own government destroyed your own people. 14 years ago, and I was astounded, the minimal posts on Facebook about 9/11. Distant memory now, isn't it? Like I posted on Facebook now, if you ask an ordinary kid in America what's 911, they'll probably say, oh, is that a new cable TV channel? Meh, sheeple. Of course the demons are behind this, playing the players on the chessboard. Now Saudi Arabia, who I believe is the whore in Revelation 17 and 18, got a massive shock coming shortly. Interesting how a crane crashed on in Mecca, was it? And killed so many people. Coincidence? Maybe. But Saudi Arabia, who sit as a queen, Revelation 18, is it? I'm no widow. Through their merchandise, their oil, have been in bed with the Western world through their oil. They've got a big shock coming. The country that whips women for reading the Bible, that beheads Christians. Watch Saudi Arabia very carefully, Saudi Arabia. The father's got a big case against this whore, this city in the desert, Revelation 17 and 18. And the travelling merchants will weep when she is nuked, because Saudi Arabia is no longer there to buy her the merchandise of the merchants. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that your American government incinerated your people under the coercion of Zionist Israel and Saudi Arabia. When you think about it though, there's nothing really new, because in all warfare you have machine fodder, don't you? They send in the infantry first, while the generals sit back watching the battle. But this wasn't a case of infantry fodder. It was innocent human beings who went to work planning their day ahead, what meal they would cook after their day's work. But we have to realize all these people that have been incinerated, was it over 1,000? I don't know the number, don't remember, will be resurrected to the new earth. They're not lost. But the ones who will face the judgment, people like Bush, Cheney, when they face the judgment seat of our Father, they will be toast, because they are pure, absolute evil. The chessboard is unfolding now. Watch the Middle East very carefully, especially Syria. Russia got troops on the ground there. There's going to be something kicking off there very shortly. Lest we forget, America, you are controlled by a Muslim sympathizer named Obama. I fear for your country very much. Wake up, America.